Welcome to the Develop Great Managers podcast, where you can learn directly from the experts. I'm Dale Ferrario, your host. For more information and valuable insights, go to developgreatmanagers.com. Now, on to the show. So welcome back to Develop Great Managers podcast on office politics. This is the second day, and today is going to be all about you, how you can be successful. Here's my quick fair use disclaimer. So as I said last week, we're going to talk about office politics in 3 different podcasts. Last time we talked about an introduction, and this time we're going to talk about how you can be successful. Next week, we'll talk about you as a manager and how to manage your team. So as always, I want to start off with a quote. Today's quote: when people respond too quickly, they often respond to the wrong issue. Listening helps us focus on the heart of the conflict. When we listen and understand and respect each other's ideas, we can then find a solution in which both of us are winners. And thanks to Dr. Gary Chapman. So I really like this because you really do have to stop, you have to listen, and you have to work to find a good solution. So now for the topics of today. Very quick refresher on what we talked about last time. Then I'm going to talk about being thoughtful, reading the system, building a good reputation, and finding common ground. So first, be thoughtful. So know what you're trying to achieve. Now, office politics or not office politics, you should be thoughtful. You should be thoughtful about what you're trying to achieve. Now, when it comes to office politics, be aware that you have choices. Different organizations have different cultures. Some companies have dual ladders. Not everyone needs to be a manager. If you don't feel like you're comfortable in the situation that you're in, consider that you have another choice. Consider your desired work-life balance and understand your personality. What gives you energy and what takes energy away? I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. And what I've done is I continue to design my life. And there's a good book that I've used to help me with that called Designing Your Life. But I've thought really hard about where do I get enjoyment? Where do I get energy? And what takes away my energy? And I've always tried to move in the direction of an opportunity that will give me that energy. You'll never find an opportunity that's 100% giving you energy. But you really want to find a way to have it be heavily weighted toward giving you more energy and less weighted toward pulling energy away. And sometimes office politics can be a big part of what pulls away energy versus what gives you energy. Now, probably the most important thing I'm going to talk about today is reading the system. If you're going to be successful and you're happy where you are and you're happy with what you're doing, but you have office politics that you need to deal with, the most important thing you have to do is understand it, read it, so that you can determine the best way to operate. So it can be easy to sort of hunker down and ignore everything that's going on around you. But then something happens and it doesn't really fit your view. Maybe it's an employee who falls out of favor, is moved off of an important project, or even fired. Or maybe it's a technical decision that doesn't sound right. Now, we talked about a couple of those last time. But there's usually a reason for this happening. And you not only need to be aware of it, so that you can adjust your strategy, but you need to learn from it. So really what you need to think about is, how do things get done? What are the decision-making processes that exist? Who are formally involved in these processes and who are informally involved? These are the influencers that you need to pay attention to. For everyone involved in the decision-making process, who do they depend on? Who would you consider their inner circle, kind of their key folks? What motivates them? What are they interested in and what are they not interested in? Now, I'm just going to go off track a little bit here, but I've had a number of different bosses. And one of the things that I'll always do is I'll look at my boss and I'll try to figure out, what are they great at? What do they love to do? What are they not so good at? What do they not like to do? That gives me a chance to think about how I can help them, how I can take something off their plate, how I can engage in the right kind of activity, how I can engage in the things that they really love to do. I also look at, where are they highly respected and where are they involved in different processes? And I try to figure out ways that I can help them, I can engage with them, I can give them information, I can influence them as part of that process, which ultimately influences decisions that get made above them. So that's kind of how I stop and think about it. Okay, the last piece I wanted to talk about here is, for the processes, how do they actually work? Are they formally written down or are they very informal? What opportunities exist to engage in those processes? So I kind of talked about an opportunity I have to engage in some ways with processes above my boss. But there are many other processes. You just need to understand them. You need to understand how they work, and you need to figure out where you can engage. So read the system. I decided this time to throw in one more quote because I really like this. Corporate culture consists of values, stories, heroes, and rituals. And this is by Steve Blank. But what I really like about this is about how you understand how a company works. Understand those values. Understand those stories. Understand those heroes. Heroes meaning people that everyone looks up to, talks about, refers to. Rituals, those are what the company celebrates. If you really understand these, you're going to learn so much about how your company works. And as a result, you're going to learn how you might be able to engage in the processes, how you can influence, how you can work the system to be able to influence it, impact it, and get things done. Now, I decided to include this just to give you another tool, and I'm not going to go through this in great detail, but I wanted you to see a tool on hbr.org, harvardbusinessreview.org, that is a tool to help you understand the political situation. Now, if you need another tool, you like sort of the 2x2 matrix, the source of power, where political activity takes place, you want to be able to sort of plot things in this way, I think this is a really good tool. So take a look at it. If you're thinking about how to read the system and plug some of the system into a tool, this is a pretty good one to use. Okay, now I want to talk about an example of two very different companies. And this will just give you a sense for how different they are as you start to read them. One has hierarchical leadership, small group decision making, trusted advisors. They have a sense for getting it done. They're risk averse, and people in that organization follow direction. Getting things done requires building a hierarchical relationship in this company. You have to align to the status quo, and you have to be delivery focused. That's how you're going to be successful in company one. Now here's company two, distributed leadership, consensus decision making, large number of influencers. They're focused on do it right, maybe over get it done. Risk taking, happy to take big risks and have a lot of autonomy. Getting things done here requires building relationships with those influencers and maybe ultimately becoming an influencer, challenging constantly the status quo, architecturally pure solutions. So I just wanted to paint a simple picture for here's two very different companies. Both can be successful. Both are successful if I use a real example for each one of these. Reading the system and then getting things done requires you to think differently, to behave differently, to operate differently. Now, you should not have to give up what you believe in, but you still have to understand it so that you can get things done. Now, let me talk a little bit about building a good reputation. Now, why do you need to build a good reputation? Well, it should be pretty obvious. People are going to look to you if you have a good reputation. And the way I describe reputation, have a good reputation, they'll pull you in or they'll welcome you in to decision making, to influencing. So let me talk about what it takes to build a good reputation. First, I think it's important to be nice and fair to everyone. probably more important to be fair. Be a team player. Don't whine and don't complain. Whining and complaining doesn't make anybody happy. It's okay to bring up issues. I think that's really important, but it's important how you bring it up. Bring it up in a constructive way. Bring it up with solutions to those issues, but don't whine, don't complain. Do a great job. Whatever you do, grab it, take it on, and do a great job. Be visible. Make sure that people know what you're doing. Now, a lot of times this starts to cross the line as well. Am I tooting my own horn? This is not my way. Find your way to let people know what you're doing. Find your way to be visible. Mind your manners. This is almost like just be a good person. Don't be a jerk. Mind your manners. Don't get personal. Try not to attack the person. Not try not to attack the person. Don't attack the person. Attack the problem. Don't make it personal. And find ways to help other people to succeed. Now, there's nothing more important to your boss or to other leaders than to make sure that they are succeeding in what they've signed up to do or what they've been asked to do. Find a way to help them. You will gain such credibility. You will become somebody that they look to, they want to pull in if they know that you're on their team, on their side, you're helping them. That's absolutely going to help your reputation. So there you go. Manage up. Now, boy, this sounds like, ooh, this might be crossing the line. It's not. You need to manage up as well. You need to spend time observing your boss and their bosses as well. You need to figure out what's important to all of them. Once you do, you need to engage with them, engage in conversations, engage in information exchange where they have interest, where it's part of what your job and their job, where they intersect, gives you something to talk to them about. Easy for you and easy for them. Don't assume upper management knows anything about what you do or how you contribute. So tell them. Now, one of the things that I did oftentimes is I would find that connection. I would find what motivates a leader, and I would look for ways to talk to them about it. I would look for ways to engage with them on it. I would look for ways to bring information that they may not have. I would look for ways to connect and support them. Is that managing up? Well, yes, but more importantly, what it's doing is it's building that relationship. So when you need them, when you need something from them, it's easy for you to go there. Now, especially when you're looking at your boss, adapt their priorities and keep them updated. It's not really hard to like somebody who works for you, who's continually there to help you and to back you. So think about ways that you can do that. The next one is form mutually beneficial relationships. So I've talked about managing up. This one's really about more broadly. How do you build relationships across the organization? Don't just go to people and ask them for something. Look for ways to build a mutually beneficial relationship where you're doing something for them, they're doing something for you. Typically, we form relationships for beneficial reasons to us. Sometimes that's just because we like the person. But it's time for you to think more strategically about how you build those relationships. Who in the organization is in a position to influence? Now, we've talked about understanding the system. As part of that, you should have identified who are people that are influencers. How does the system work? Think about who those people are. Who are the stars? Or who are the rising stars? Of these people, who would you feel comfortable building a relationship with? And that's the important part, and I keep coming back to it. You don't have to do things that are outside of your personality, but as you think about who these people are, find the ones that are going to be easiest for you to build a relationship with. Make sure that you think about what's in it for them. What do you bring to the party? What do you bring to the relationship? And as you figure it out and start to build those relationships, it'll get easier and easier for you to expand the relationships that you have. And these are mutually beneficial. You're not taking advantage of somebody. They're not taking advantage of you. You're building the relationship because it's important for both of you to get things done. Now, when you're actually working with people and you're trying to solve problems, Make sure that you're looking for that win-win, or maybe a better way to say it is find common ground. And I love a quote that one of my bosses used to say, which is seek to understand before being understood. That really means listen. Really make sure that you're listening to what they need or what they're doing or what they're trying to accomplish before you just come out and give your opinion. Separate the idea from the person. This is always back to an approach that I've taken, which is it's not about the person. It's about the problem. It's about the idea. It's about the thing you're trying to solve. Separate those two things. Determine the gap where you actually differ. There's probably a lot of things that you actually agree on. There may just be a few things that you disagree on, and separate them and go work on those. Be very objective. Make sure that you're always providing alternatives. Consider engaging other people in this discussion or in this issue or in this topic. That'll always help to get a better rounded understanding, a rounded perspective, and it will really help you to narrow down and focus on where the gap is. And look for a win-win. Try to find a way to do a trade-off where maybe you get some of the things you're looking for and they get some of the things you're looking for and everybody ends up winning. There's probably not just one right answer. I hope that'll help with finding common ground. Now, as you're doing that, you should also be really clear that you should know when to fold. Not every issue, not every topic is worth trying to win. Sometimes you just say, this one's okay, we'll let it go, and we'll move on to another one. And you just have to think hard about that. Sometimes the cost of winning is too high. Sometimes you're trying to buck a system that just won't let you go there. The value of the quid pro quo is too high, what you have to give up in order to get back what you're looking for. And sometimes the risk of your personal capital is too high. What that means is if you fight to the end to try to win, you might use a lot of your political capital. That's going to bite you later. That means that people are going to lose some respect for you, or they're going to know that you just won't take no for an answer and you're going to fight to the end. They may exclude you. So be really thoughtful about when you push so hard that you risk your political capital. And you may just decide, I'm going to fold on this. I'm going to push all my chips into the table, and I'm going to move on to another one. So really important, know when to fold. So there you go. I think that that'll give you a good sense for the kinds of things that you need to do as an individual to be successful. Most importantly, read that system. Make sure that you're thinking about how you want to behave. Think about the relationships you need to build. Think about that win-win situation. Think about when you just step away and let it go. Take action for the week. There's a lot of information that we just covered. So here's the one thing I would like you to do, and that is read the system. Read the system for your company. Understand how things work. I also included a link here that I think is actually a good read. It's called The Decision-Making Process. So take a look at this link, skim it. I think there's some really good information there. Thanks. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, there are more podcasts available on developgreatmanagers.com, on iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you have time, please post a comment, or better yet, please write a review. Talk to you in the next podcast.